Get ready to dive into stories that go beyond the ordinary. I created this channel to challenge your imagination and give you a front row seat to compelling, advanced narratives. To keep these stories coming, please subscribe, like, and share with others who love this great story. Title: Crushing Everyone's Hope. With that, the 4-star domain competition continues.
After killing the leader-level giant beast, Lin Moyu obtained a white jade token, directly increasing his score by 2,000 points. Although 2,000 points were not much, it was a crucial step for Dongfang Zi. He verified his idea and confirmed that his plan was feasible. The white jade token turned into white light in his hand and dissipated, converting into points. Dongfang Zi eagerly opened the task leaderboard. 1. Lin Moyu, 28,882 points. 2. Lin Mohan, 9,021 points. 3. Dongfang Zi, 5,612 points. 4. Zhuang Bai, 3,421 points. Although his score was still incomparable to Lin Moyu's, not even close to a fraction, the gap had indeed narrowed. Since the last time he checked the leaderboard, Lin Moyu's score had increased by 500 points, and Lin Mohan's score had increased by 400 points. However, his own score had increased by 2,300 points. As long as he killed a few more leader-level giant beasts, he had hope of catching up to Lin Mohan. If he could kill a boss-level giant beast, he could directly surpass Lin Moyu and become first. Yes, that's it. As long as I find a boss-level giant beast, I can become first. A boss-level giant beast is at least at the 5th rank of the God King realm, possibly even reaching the 6th rank. With the realm suppression, very few people can defeat a boss-level giant beast. I can mobilize part of the power of the Lost Star River. With some effort, I can kill a boss-level giant beast. Dongfang Zi's eyes burned with the fire of conviction. He seemed to see hope, the possibility of surpassing Lin Moyu. But soon, a bucket of cold water was poured over his head. Lin Moyu's score suddenly increased by 1,000 points. Dongfang Zi was stunned. Taking a full 3 seconds to react, he also killed a leader-level giant beast. Then Lin Moyu's score changed again, increasing by another 1,000 points. Lin Moyu directly broke through the 30,000 point mark, reaching 30,882 points. Not only had he killed a leader-level giant beast, but he had also obtained a white jade token. The 2 score changes were like 2 heavy punches to Dongfang Zi's head. His entire being felt cold, and the little joy he had vanished completely. The gap between their scores had not only not narrowed but had widened again. At this moment, Lin Mohan's score also changed, increasing by 1,000 points. Needless to say, she had also killed a leader-level giant beast. Given Lin Mohan's demonstrated combat power, killing a leader-level giant beast was not difficult. Dongfang Zi snapped out of his daze, his slightly lost gaze reigniting with determination. I still have a chance. He can kill a leader-level giant beast, but that doesn't mean he can kill a boss-level giant beast. Even if he can kill a boss-level giant beast, it will come down to who kills more. One boss-level giant beast is worth 100,000 points. As long as I kill a few more, I can surpass him in points. And there's the purple jade token. With some luck, one boss-level giant beast could be worth 200,000 points. Dongfang Zi kept comforting himself, regaining his confidence. Far away, Lin Moyu had no idea what Dongfang Zi was thinking. After killing the leader-level giant beast, he summoned the undead eye again for a search. He still didn't find any boss-level giant beasts, but he did find a few more leader-level giant beasts. Besides the leader-level giant beasts, Lin Moyu also saw a few soul flames belonging to cultivators. They had already surpassed him on the path, moving ahead of him. Lin Moyu knew he wasn't slow, it could only mean they were moving faster. Moving fast must have a purpose. From Fire Seed Island to leaving the Ring Mountain continent, the straight line distance is over 400,000 kilometers. In the first 100,000 kilometers, there are only ordinary and elite giant beasts. From 100,000 kilometers onward, leader-level giant beasts start to appear. Boss-level giant beasts should appear in the final stretch, and their numbers won't be many. Judging by the points, the strength of boss-level giant beasts should be around the 5th to 6th rank of the God King realm. If someone specifically targets boss-level giant beasts, they might really surpass me. Killing a boss-level giant beast guarantees 100,000 points, and with some luck, it could be 200,000 points. That's equivalent to killing 200,000 ordinary giant beasts. Lin Moyu opened the task leaderboard and saw that Dongfang Zi's score had suddenly increased significantly, understanding what he had done. This also confirmed his own guess. Not only Dongfang Zi, but others might also choose to do the same. Especially those little god sovereigns, they all had trump cards. If they used their trump cards, they could definitely kill boss-level giant beasts. Moreover, these people would not be content to let him take first place. They would definitely find ways to surpass him, either by killing boss-level giant beasts or obtaining purple jade tokens. Purple jade tokens were too rare, hidden somewhere on the vast continent. Killing boss-level giant beasts was more reliable and also had a chance of obtaining purple jade tokens. Lin Moyu believed that as long as they weren't foolish, they would definitely choose to kill boss-level giant beasts. This was the only chance to surpass him. It's about time. Hope has been given, now it's time to take it back. Lin Moyu slowly raised his head, looking at the formation above. His gaze seemed to penetrate the formation, seeing the starry sky beyond the Ring Mountain continent. Lin Lao, who was observing Lin Moyu from the palace, suddenly froze. He noticed us. The sacred Lord Hao shook his head. He didn't notice us, but he sensed our observation. Don't forget, he also has a 5th grade purple jade soul. Madame Yu nodded. A 5th grade purple jade soul is extremely sensitive. Our observation would indeed be noticed. Lin Lao's pupils suddenly contracted. What is he going to do? Madame Yu looked over, her beautiful face showing a complex expression. Sacred Lord, do you know what he's planning? The sacred Lord Hao chuckled. This kid is too cunning. He's planning to crush everyone's hope. He must have known the task rules long ago. He was just taking it easy before, giving others a bit of hope. Now, he's going to take that hope back. Madame Yu was quick-witted and immediately understood, but doing this will offend people, won't it? The sacred Lord Hao shook his head. When your strength is so great that others can't even be jealous, it doesn't count as offending people. Lin Lao agreed with the sacred Lord Hao. Indeed, a truly powerful person doesn't need to care about others' opinions. The sacred Lord Hao continued, besides, it's good to temper their arrogance. Normally, they are all proud and don't accept anyone. This time, let them know there's always someone better. Lin Moyu indeed sensed the observation from the sacred Lord Hao and the others. His soul was too sensitive, and no observation could escape his notice. However, he didn't find it strange. He had long known that people would be watching this task. After all, it gathered the fire seeds of the human race. Any accident would be unacceptable. Since you want to watch, I'll give you a good show. Lin Moyu didn't deliberately hide his strength. Some things couldn't be hidden even if he wanted to, so he might as well display them openly. A large number of skeleton god warriors appeared around him, rushing in all directions. The skeleton god warriors split into 2 groups, one half charging into the mountains and forests, the other half leaping into the ocean, starting to slaughter ordinary and elite giant beasts. At the same time, tens of thousands of skeleton god generals charged out, targeting leader-level and even boss-level giant beasts. Even though his own realm was suppressed to the 1st rank of the God King realm, the skeleton god generals still possessed combat strength equivalent to the 8th rank of the God King realm. Dealing with leader-level and boss-level giant beasts was a matter of minutes. Outside the palace, by the tea table, Lin Lao and Madame Yu's expressions were identical, somewhat stiff. Lin Lao forced out a sentence. This kid, how many summoned creatures does he have? He knew Lin Moyu's summoned creatures wouldn't be few, but he hadn't expected there to be so many. Madame Yu was also shocked. This must be in the millions, right? The sacred Lord Hao shook his head. I don't know the exact number, but it should be over 10 million. Over 10 million. Madame Yu said, if his summoned creatures can increase in strength along with his realm, then when he becomes a god sovereign, he will have an army of tens of millions of god sovereigns. Lin Lao said in a deep voice, if that's the case, our human army will sweep through all the races. An army of tens of millions of god sovereigns is terrifying just to think about. If it really comes to that, which race in the great world could stop the human race? Even they would have a headache facing an army of tens of millions of god sovereigns. If they were all high-level god sovereigns, even they would have to retreat. The sacred Lord Hao couldn't be sure at this moment. Every spell has its limits, and where that limit is, I can't say for sure. Let's wait and see. This matter is hard to say. The sacred Lord Hao spoke softly, but his eyes showed anticipation, hoping for that day to come. If it really happens, the human race will undoubtedly be the #1 race in the great world, and no one will be able to compare. Lin Moyu didn't release all his skeleton god warriors. Releasing 10 million skeleton god warriors was already shocking enough. There was no need for more. 10 million skeleton god warriors and 10,000 skeleton god generals are enough to sweep through the Ring Mountain continent. Next, it's time to crush their hopes. Lin Moyu smiled mischievously. Occasionally being a bit naughty was a way to spice up the cultivation life. From the beginning of the task, he had said he would make a big move. Now the big move was here, and he just hoped the others could handle it and not be too discouraged. With a smile, Lin Moyu continued to traverse mountains and rivers. The skeletons charged into the mountains like wolves and tigers, and the various giant beasts inside suffered. No matter where they hid, they couldn't escape the undead vision of the skeletons. One by one, the giant beasts were killed, turning into points for Lin Moyu. There were countless mountains and countless giant beasts, and the skeletons went on a killing spree. Zhuang Bai held a white jade token in his hand, watching it turn into starlight and disappear. The usually calm Zhuang Bai couldn't hide his joy. Unexpectedly obtaining a white jade token proved his luck and attentiveness. The white jade token was found in the center of a large tree, where a piece of bark had fallen off, revealing an anomaly. After some searching, he found the white jade token. After gaining the points, Zhuang Bai opened the task leaderboard to check his score. Seeing his score increase by 1,000 points, he was still in 4th place, which didn't surprise him. Then he naturally looked at Lin Moyu's score, and in an instant, he froze, unable to move. 1. Lin Moyu, 72,345 points. How is this possible? Just 2 hours ago, he had just broken 30,000 points. In 2 hours, he increased by over 40,000 points. How did he do it? In the few seconds he was watching, Lin Moyu's score continued to rise, increasing by dozens of points in the blink of an eye. Zhuang Bai, who had some understanding of Lin Moyu, quickly thought of a possibility. That was, Lin Moyu had released a large number of skeletons and started an indiscriminate slaughter of giant beasts. Zhuang Bai didn't know how many skeletons Lin Moyu had. At that time, he had only fought Lin Moyu in the Human Emperor arena. But based on his estimation, Lin Moyu's number of skeletons must be considerable. He watched Lin Moyu's score soar like a rocket, breaking the 80,000 point mark, and the upward trend seemed to be accelerating. What's the point of competing now? Zhuang Bai showed a helpless smile. Lin Moyu's score had completely crushed his hopes. Even if he found a leader-level giant beast, Lin Moyu's score would have already skyrocketed. This guy really doesn't give others a chance. Zhuang Bai felt a bit helpless and somewhat disheartened. The strategy he had thought of was now completely useless. As the skeleton god warriors spread out more and more, the efficiency of killing ordinary giant beasts kept increasing, and Lin Moyu's score growth rate also kept accelerating. More and more people noticed this, and one by one, they were stunned, unable to believe their eyes. Some people sat down on the ground, unable to help but curse. Some even suspected that there was a problem with the Human Emperor network, unable to believe what was happening before them. Dongfang Zi was the most severely affected. When he saw Lin Moyu's score break 100,000, he couldn't help but let out a roar. Behind him, a faint Lost Star River appeared, and the power of the Lost Star River poured out uncontrollably, crushing the mountains. This is impossible. This is absolutely impossible. There must be something wrong. The Human Emperor network must be malfunctioning. Lin Mohan saw the score change and laughed. Xiao Yu, you're really crushing their spirits. Xu Jianxing looked helpless. Brother Lin, you're really too scary. Wei Bowen's face was ashen, his eyes spitting fire, but he couldn't say a word. However, his fists were clenched, and his whole body trembled, clearly furious. Everyone present was a genius, and not just any genius, but the top geniuses. Each of them had pride in their bones, and none of them would easily submit. But now, they had no choice but to submit. Lin Moyu was simply too far ahead, an unimaginable advantage. On Fire Seed Island, Xiaoming kept watching the task leaderboard. Although she wasn't a participant in this task, as the only administrator on Fire Seed Island, she could see the leaderboard. At this moment, she was also dumbfounded, her breathing rapid, her throat dry, unable to say a word. Everything happening on the Ring Mountain continent was being observed by the three beings in the starry sky. Every individual's performance was in their sight. Some were angry, some were helpless, some were unwilling, and some were indifferent. In their eyes, all these reactions were normal, reflections of personality and emotions. As beings who had lived for countless years, they naturally saw through everything. What mattered wasn't the display of emotions but how each person's will and thoughts would change after the emotions. To them, the firmness of one's Tao heart and whether one would collapse after a setback were very important. Only at their level did they understand the importance of the Tao heart. Over countless years, many god sovereigns had reached the peak, but how many had truly stepped into the other shore? Many god sovereigns reached the peak but were stuck before the other shore, unable to advance, until their lifespan ended. On the surface, it seemed like a soul problem, as the soul couldn't reach the 5th grade purple jade soul. But no one knew how to break through the soul barrier. Only beings like the sacred Lord Hao, who had reached the other shore, could have some insight. It involved willpower and the Tao heart. The Sacred Lord Hao said calmly, I have already instructed the Human Emperor Network to record their performances. The Human Emperor Network will analyze them. Madame Yu chuckled, for many of them, this might be their first setback, which is indeed very meaningful. The Human Emperor Network could analyze each person's future potential based on their reactions. Although not entirely accurate, it provided a reference. In fact, this analysis had always been conducted by the Human Emperor Network, targeting the human race's fire seed geniuses. Most people didn't know this, and even God sovereigns were unaware. Only the true high-level beings could see the analyzed data. More and more people were giving up, feeling there was no need to compete anymore. The rankings seemed frozen, with many people's scores no longer changing. Lin Moyu's actions this time had struck almost everyone. They were all geniuses, especially those from the War God Hall and the Divine City, who were usually so arrogant. But this time, Lin Moyu trampled on their arrogance, rubbing it into the ground, creating sparks and drawing fresh blood, disfiguring them completely. He didn't kill them physically, but rather crushed their spirits. The Sacred Lord Hao and the others watched from start to finish without stopping Lin Moyu. If someone's Tao heart collapsed from this, then it was their own doing, completely unworthy of being called a genius. The highest achievement such people could reach was merely a god sovereign. Did the human race lack god sovereigns? The human race had always sought supreme experts, and only those in the other shore realm qualified as such. So losing some geniuses didn't really matter. From ordinary people all the way until the other shore realm, it was a process of sifting through the waves. On the leaderboard, apart from Lin Moyu's score which was still rising at an astonishing rate, only Lin Mohan's score was changing. The scores of the others remained almost completely stagnant for half a day. Until half a day later, someone's score finally changed significantly. Chu Shang's score suddenly increased by 2,000. He had killed a leader-level beast ranked 513 and was also lucky enough to obtain a white jade token. Chu Shang had a stalk of grass in his mouth and held a thick battle blade in his right hand. The battle blade was only a true God realm magic treasure, but in Chu Shang's hands, it was no weaker than a God sovereign realm magic treasure. The huge, leader-level beast lay beside Chu Shang. Chu Shang didn't even look at it, stepping over it and continuing forward. As he walked, he muttered to himself, no matter how high the brat's score is, it has nothing to do with me. There are many powerful people in this world. Does that mean I can't live anymore? Did all the people who fought alongside the war god commit suicide? His words seemed like self-consolation, but they also made sense. Chu Shang was rough on the outside but meticulous on the inside, with a firm Tao heart. He was the first to recover. After Chu Shang, Xu Jianxing's score also began to increase. Xu Jianxing held a long bow and shot down an ordinary giant beast. Cultivation is not about competing with others but competing with oneself. As long as I don't admit defeat, no one can defeat me. The two of them walked one after the other, not far apart. Then Zhuang Bai joined their ranks. They had one thing in common. They no longer regarded Lin Moyu and Lin Mohan as competitors but saw themselves as their own competitors. As long as they surpassed themselves, that was enough. Their actions were like a timely rain, pouring down on everyone's heads. Some people awoke as if from a dream, while others had an epiphany. More and more people began to take action, recovering from the blow one by one. Watching the changes on the leaderboard, Lin Moyu could already guess the general process. They're all quite smart, with just a little prompting, they can figure it out. Flowers in the greenhouse will eventually have to face the wind and sun. He sounded like an experienced elder, even though he was the youngest among them, speaking words that didn't match his age. Lin Moyu hadn't gone all out. The skeleton god warriors he sent out avoided the paths chosen by others. The giant beasts they killed were in places no one had chosen. The Ring Mountain continent was vast, and the 100 or so people scattered within were not even as significant as ants. There were plenty of giant beasts for Lin Moyu to kill. After less than a day's pause, the competition resumed, with many geniuses who had recovered from the blow starting a new round of competition. But in this round, their opponents had become themselves. Dongfang Zi also recovered from the blow. His tone was low. Lin Moyu, although I lost to you in this task, I will definitely defeat you in the 4-star domain competition. Not just the 4-star domain competition, even when you enter the Divine City, I will continue to win. Wei Bowen looked at the score that was already far out of reach. I'm from the War God Hall. How could I lose to you? We are the strongest. When I return to the War God Hall and receive the War God's inheritance, I will definitely surpass you and reach a level you can never attain. The Sacred Lord Hao watched this scene with satisfaction. These little fellows aren't bad. There are a few potential disciples among them. Madame Yu said, Chu Shang has the hope of stepping into the other shore. Lin Lao said, the one called Shu Jianxing is also not bad. If I'm not mistaken, he should be from the Shu family of the Divine City. Then he sighed, it's a pity about Dongfang Zi. The sacred Lord Hao spoke with a hint of disdain, there's nothing to pity. Everyone must take responsibility for their choices. He ruined his own future, and no one can save him. In order to achieve outstanding results in the 4-star domain competition, Dongfang Zi relied on his talent and forcibly accepted only half of the baptism, not stepping into the God-sovereign realm. Although most of the problems could be remedied later, the imperfect seed had already been planted. Becoming a God-sovereign was naturally not a problem, but wanting to step into the other shore was impossible in this life. From the sacred Lord Hao's perspective, there was no need to sympathize with such people, let alone pity them. One chooses one's own path and must bear the consequences, no matter what they are. Time flew by, and after a full year, the preliminaries of the 4-star domain competition finally ended. The real finals would be held a month later, and all the contestants would be teleported there before the finals began. Each of the 4 major star domains had only 100 people qualified to participate in the finals. Adding the seed contestants chosen by the 4 domain lords, the people from the War God Hall, and those from the Divine City, there were a total of 500 contestants in the finals. Among them, the seed contestants, the War God Hall, and the Divine City occupied the rankings but did not take up the qualifications to enter the Divine City. So the final 100 places to enter the Divine City would be produced from the 400 contestants who emerged from the preliminaries. In this way, the enmity of the preliminary contestants towards the seed contestants would be greatly reduced. After all, one of the most important rewards of the 4-star domain competition was the qualification to enter the Divine City. If you didn't take away their qualifications, they wouldn't care about you. In the history of previous years, the seed contestants were generally stronger than the preliminary contestants, and their rankings were also higher. But there were also occasional accidents, where seed contestants failed. For example, their laws were countered, or their magic treasures were countered, etc. Some seed contestants lacked combat experience despite their great strength, so they could also be defeated. This happened more often among the contestants from the Divine City and the War God Hall. The 4-star domain competition was a grand event for the human race, and almost everyone began to look forward to the exciting competition a month later. Many races on good terms with the human race also began to set out. They came to the human race as guests to participate in this grand event. There were also many races with ordinary relations with the human race who would come to attend the event, each with their own motives. But since they were not enemy races, the human race generally would not refuse them. As for the enemy races, they would try various ways to obtain intelligence about the competition. Especially the geniuses who emerged from the competition would become their targets for assassination. Within the Ring Mountain continent, Lin Moyu reached the end of his path. Before him were towering mountains that pierced the sky. It wasn't just one high mountain but a continuous mountain range. He had seen this mountain range from outside the Ring Mountain continent before. It formed a circle, embracing the entire continent, hence the name Ring Mountain continent. To leave the continent, he had to cross over it. Here, Lin Moyu finally saw the leader-level giant beasts.